cigars to go with the It's a Boy thing. It's real cute. She's the best.
It is a cultural ceremony disguised as a medical procedure. Typically, you don't get these kinds of sexy presents from major genital reconstructive surgery. And we're told that this is reconstructive, even though it's arguably constructive, because she never had that part. And she never would have had that part. And so they're basically having a party. It's like Jazz Jennings and the penis party. It's a rite of passage in this community that is defined by a shared group of religious beliefs and practices. And so the question is, when are we going to step in and perhaps limit what doctors are allowed to sell people on the basis of their desire to participate in an elaborate ritual of a bodily, you could call it sanctification, you call it scarification, you call it some sort of degradation. It's some ritual where to prove their faith, they have to cut the body and alter the body in elaborate ways. So I put it in the same category as somebody wanting to be crucified, to experience what Jesus experienced. I put it in the same category as any other kind of genital cutting for the purposes of group membership. Certain tribes in Africa, for instance, are known to have cultural practices involving men beating women and causing scarification that way.
Female relatives dance and invite weeping from men who have recently been initiated. This shows their support of the initiate, and the scars give them a say on who they marry.
I fear that we have lost as a culture an understanding of the line between medicine and ritual.
Anyway, so surgery itself went fine. I'm gonna be staying in the hospital a couple more nights than anticipated because of my health history. They just want to make sure I don't get any blood clots or any post-op complications.
So a woman who is apparently at risk of blood clots is on testosterone, a drug that promotes the development of blood clots. Is that the reason that she's considered high risk for blood clots after a surgery that keeps her off her feet for what sounds like 5 to 8 weeks?
That's it. I got up and stood for 30 seconds and feeling all right. So
the reason lying down puts you at risk of blood clots is because the blood is pooling in your legs, and blood clots happen when there's more red blood cells in the area, and they're more likely to bump into each other. And some fraction of those bumping events results in fusing, results in a clot. Just due to the nature of how these cellular processes work. And so if you are seated for a long period of time, the blood can pool in your veins where it's not pressurized and it's not moving at the same rate. And that can lead to blood clots that then, through the action of the heart, it pulls those blood clots up and it pushes them into the lungs. And so now it's under pressure. And now we've got a clot in an area where there's a lot of blood behind it. And the blood needs to get past the clot in order for it to get oxygen and get to the rest of your body. And so that's why pulmonary embolisms can be immediate in terms of their devastating consequences. People can just drop dead from a pulmonary embolism, and it's pretty hard to do anything about it unless you're at a hospital or it's small enough that blood is still getting around it. But that's how Carrie Fisher, otherwise known as Princess Leia, that's why she died. She had a pulmonary embolism on a flight, and so there were various factors, including the pressure change, that promoted the development of blood clots, but also just being seated for an extended period of time and being older. All these factors made it more likely. And then in her case, she appears to be on a drug called testosterone, which promotes the development of blood clots by increasing the number of red blood cells in the same confined area. And of course, she's female, and so all of her arteries and architecture is smaller than it would be for a male, even a male at the same height. So,
what's up, you guys? So, a couple of good news and nugget updates. First good news is that I'm gonna go home today. The doctor just wanted me to have certain blood thinners to avoid blood clots, and we weren't sure if we were gonna be able to get that before the weekend, so I was gonna have to stay here so that way I could get those meds. But we picked them up, all fine, we're ready to go now. So I'm gonna go home today. And the other thing is that he was able to do the scrotal spacers during surgery, which means I only have one more surgery after this to take out the spacers, put in the implants, and that will happen in May.
So they installed some sort of practice nudicle, and then the real ones are going to come in a couple months, and I'll have to swap them out.
It's already scheduled and on the books, so we are really coming to the end of this whole surgical transition journey, and I'm very excited about it. So, anyways, Tay's just grabbing some things right now and then coming back, and then we're out of here. So, what is up, you guys? Got my orca pal with me here.
A couple years ago, I went on to trigonometry and was interviewed. During that interview, I talked about how when I was a trans identifying person, a trans man, I was contemplating top surgery for myself and my girlfriend at the time, who I've said I introduced to gender ideology, which is true. She found out about it through me, but she also found out about it right when she was starting at UC Berkeley, which is where I found out about it because Judith Butler teaches there. And so people find out about it when they go to Berkeley. That's just a thing. I said that I recall that I didn't want to go through with it myself because I was afraid of the consequences. I was afraid of the pain I would be in. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to trust what they said about the recovery times and on and on. And she was a lot more confident that it's what she wanted. And so I said in that interview that looking back, I kind of feel like I was waiting to kind of see what her experience was like, and I likened it to being like a penguin about to jump into the ocean, and looking over and waiting for another penguin to jump first to see whether there's orcas or not. So they said that I was evil. I was an evil little penguin because I didn't want to jump in the water.
Now get in the water. Get in the water.
Bad penguin. I should have been eaten by the orca. That's what good penguins do.
I haven't posted much post-op because, quite frankly, there hasn't been a ton going on. I've still got 2 drains in. I'll hopefully get this guy out tomorrow. This one has still been putting out quite a bit, and so I think I can go back the day after. We're halfway done with the binding the top and compressing the bottom, so 2 more weeks of that. I can be binder free. So ready for that.
So they've invented a problem, which is that binders aren't comfortable. And they sold the solution. We will cut you so you don't need this binder anymore. This binder that you only think you need because you have adopted an ideology that says that you ought to be the other sex. And so your membership in that group is defined by your willingness to say and do things that align with the idea of somebody that always knew or truly feels, in some sense, that they're either the other sex or not their birth sex. So that's the split between the Our Lady of Perpetual Hormone Replacement Therapy subgroup and the non-binitarians. And so this is a situation where individuals are asked to perform these trans rites, RITES, to prove their faith and to prove that they belong in this group. And so it's I know that when I was identifying as trans, I was very afraid of not being included, of not being invited, and of being left behind, and of being somewhat abandoned by my social group. And there were complex reasons for that. But the take home point, though, is that this is an ideology that gives people a sense of belonging.
Everything's healing up very nicely. I went to go take my first shirtless pic today, and my nipple immediately started bleeding. So that was encouraging.
Was your shirt wipeable?
So we'll try again later. I'm really happy with all the results. I'm stoked with everything. I haven't had my big exciting fuck yeah moment about it yet.
Just like when you are a child and you are going through things like catechism, if you're in a Christian sect that does that, which I was. I went through catechism. There was a whole series of rituals at the Christian summer camps I went to, where you could get a little handkerchief, and you got different colors of the handkerchief, and you had to go up to the top of a mountain and pledge your life to the magical tulpa in the sky that you could talk to and could be your best friend. And so there is an element of any religious practice where you want to do the rituals in order to achieve the emotional experience of having done the rituals and getting to do whatever comes next and elevating and otherwise feeling like you are making progress in your life. And so she's gone through this surgery to prove her faith so that she can access the religious bliss that she's fantasized about. It is a fantasy involving her sex, which makes it a what kind of fantasy?
I think it's like my clothes still aren't fitting how I want them to because I have drains in the binding happening. So I like, my clothes aren't there yet. So I can't get that like full effect, like hell yeah look. Also,
She wants a thrill from dressing as the opposite sex. Can we agree this is a thing yet?
the mental health, that's been fun post-op. So I feel like once drains are out and I'm feeling better there and like can start wearing my clothes how I want to wear them, that's when I'll have my big like hell yeah moment.
So she doesn't feel better from having her body physically changed. She feels better because she's imagining how great she's going to look in a suit.
On all this, but until then, I'm still very happy with everything.
I'm still very happy with everything. I'm not buying it.
Physically, I'm doing very great.
Oh, did you see the anger? And then immediately it's suppressed. But you saw the flash.
Walked like 4 miles yesterday, which was a huge improvement compared to like a week ago when I was maybe doing an extra lap around my kitchen when I would move from the bathroom to my couch. So big progress there. Mentally, just I'm like ready to get out of the house, ready to get back rowing on the water, to the gym, all that good stuff. Obviously, I'm gonna pace myself. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna let my body heal, but I'm just like ready to go do this thing. So, anyways, that's all. I'll keep you posted on whatever else comes up.
Seems like she was pretty happy.
So, okay, bye.
That's all I have for you this time. I hope that you've enjoyed my reactions and that you also appreciated my dander identity for the day. Dander identity is like gender identity, but it refers to my skin and my hair and anything that I'm wearing on my head. I have dander dysphoria, and my dander identity is dander flux. And so, therefore, I need different dander prosthetics, dander expression prosthetics, to express my dander identity properly, which changes day to day. And the problem is that insurance will not cover my dander identity prosthetics, so it just comes out of my own pocket. It's really expensive. It's so hard. I mean, you have no idea how many random people at the subway I had to ask for change just to afford these fake flowers. It's been very difficult. Thank you all so much for your support and your patience while I've been dealing with various things. And then I wanted to give a special thank you to Leah Keith and the amazing women at Wolf, the Women's Liberation Front. I had a fantastic time at the conference, and it meant so much to me to go. Thank you so much.